Lebanon is a country in Levant region of West Asia. Situated at the crossroads of Mediterranean Basin and Arabian Peninsula, bordered by Syria to the north and east, Israel to the south and Mediterranean Sea to the west, and Cyprus lies a short distance from the coastline. Lebanon has a population of more than 5 million and an area of 10,452 square kilometers. Beirut is the country's capital and largest city. Human habitation in Lebanon dates to 5000 BC. From 3200 to 539 BC, it was part of Phoenicia, a maritime civilization that spanned the Mediterranean basin. In 64 BC, the region became part of Roman Empire and subsequent Byzantine Empire. After the 7th century, it came under the rule of different Arab Islamic caliphates including Rashidun, Umayyad, and Abbasid caliphates. 11th century saw the establishment of Christian Crusader states, which fell to the Ayyubids and Mamluks. Lebanon came under Ottoman rule in the early 16th century. Under Ottoman Sultan Abdulmajid I, the first Lebanese protestate, Mount Lebanon Mutasarrifate was established as a home for Maronite Christians as part of Tanzimat reforms. After dissolution of Ottoman Empire following World War I, Lebanon came under Mandate for Syria and Lebanon, administered by France, which established Greater Lebanon. By 1943, Lebanon gained independence from Free France and established a distinct form of confessional government, with the state's major religious groups being apportioned specific political powers. The new Lebanese state was relatively stable but was ultimately shattered by outbreak of Lebanese Civil War 1975 to 1990. Lebanon was also subjugated by 2 military occupations: Syria from 1976 to 2005 and Israel from 1985 to 2000. It has been the scene of several conflicts with Israel, of which the ongoing war marks the 4th Israeli invasion since 1978. It has been classified as a lower middle-income country. The Lebanese liquidity crisis, coupled with nationwide corruption and disasters such as 2020 Beirut explosion, precipitated the collapse of Lebanon's currency and fomented political instability, widespread resource shortages, and high unemployment and poverty. The World Bank has defined, despite the country's small size, Lebanese culture is renowned both in the Arab world and globally, powered by large and influential Lebanese diaspora. Natufian culture was the first to become sedentary at around 12,000 BC. Evidence of early settlement in Lebanon was found in Byblos, considered among the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world. The evidence dates back to earlier than 5000 BC. Lebanon was part of northern Canaan. The tourism industry accounts for about 10% of GDP. Lebanon attracted around 1,333,000 tourists in 2008, thus placing it as 79th out of 191 countries. In 2009, the New York Times ranked Beirut the #1 travel destination worldwide due to its nightlife and hospitality. In January 2010, Ministry of Tourism announced that 1,851,081 tourists had visited Lebanon in 2009, a 39% increase from 2008. In 2009, Lebanon hosted the largest number of tourists to date, eclipsing the previous record set before Lebanese Civil War. Tourist arrivals reached 2 million in 2010, but fell by 37% for the first 10 months of 2012, a decline caused by the war in neighboring Syria. In 2011, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Japan were the 3 most popular tourists to Lebanon. In summer, a considerable number of visitors to Lebanon consists of Lebanese expatriates coming to visit their hometowns. In 2012, it was reported that an influx of Japanese tourists had caused a rise in popularity of Japanese cuisine in Lebanon. On the 4th of May, United Arab Emirates announced lifting travel ban on Lebanon, effective the 7th of May, 2025. This decision follows a meeting between Lebanese President and UAE President in Abu Dhabi, during which both leaders agreed to facilitate travel and improve movement between the 2 countries. Lebanon is located in West Asia, straddles the northwest of Arabian Plate. The country's surface area is 10,452 square kilometers, of which 10,230 square kilometers is land. Lebanon has a coastline and border of 225 kilometers on Mediterranean Sea to the west, 375 kilometers border shared with Syria to the north and east, and 79 kilometers long border with Israel to the south. The border with the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights is disputed by Lebanon in a small area called Shebra Farms. Lebanon is divided into four distinct physiographic regions: Coastal Plain, Lebanon Mountain Range, Bekaa Valley, and Anti-Lebanon Mountains. The narrow and discontinuous coastal plain stretches from Syrian border in the north, where it widens to form Akka Plain, to Ras al-Nakura at the border with Israel in the south. The fertile coastal plain is formed of marine sediments and river-deposited alluvium alternating with sandy bays and rocky beaches. Lebanon's mountains rise steeply parallel to the Mediterranean coast and form a ridge of limestone and sandstone that runs for most of the country's length. The mountain range varies in width between 10 kilometers and 56 kilometers. It is carved by narrow and deep gorges. The Lebanon mountains peak at 3,088 meters above sea level in Kernat as-Sauda in North Lebanon and gradually slope to the south before rising again to a height of 2,695 meters in Mount Sinai. The Bekaa Valley sits between Lebanon mountains in the west and Anti-Lebanon Range in the east. It is part of Great Rift Valley system. The valley is 180 kilometers long and 10 to 26 kilometers wide. The Anti-Lebanon Range runs parallel to Lebanon Mountains. Its highest peak is in Mount Hermon at 2,814 meters. Lebanon has 16 rivers, all of which are non-navigable. 13 rivers originate from Mount Lebanon and run through the steep gorges and into the Mediterranean Sea. The other 3 arise in Bekaa Valley. Lebanon has Mediterranean climate. In coastal areas, winters are generally cool and rainy while summers are hot and humid. In more elevated areas, temperatures usually drop below freezing during winter with heavy snow cover until early summer on the higher mountaintops. Although most of Lebanon receives large amount of rainfall when measured annually in comparison to its arid surroundings, certain areas in northeastern Lebanon receives only little because of the rain shadow created by the high peaks of western mountain range. Storm Adam 2025 saw severe polar weather system affecting Lebanon with low temperatures and snow expected to fall at elevations as low as 300 meters above sea level. Lebanon had an estimated population of 5,592,631 in 2021, with the number of Lebanese nationals estimated at 4,680,212 in July. However, no official census has been conducted since 1932 due to the sensitive confessional political balance between Lebanon's various religious groups. Identifying all Lebanese as ethnically Arab is a widely employed example of panethnicity, as the Lebanese are descended from many different peoples who are either indigenous or have occupied, invaded, or settled this corner of the world, making Lebanon a mosaic of closely interrelated cultures. Lebanese people have a long history of emigration stretching back to the 19th century, including partial ancestry. More Lebanese live outside the country than in Lebanon. The country experienced a series of migration waves since independence. Over 1.8 million people emigrated from the country between 1975 and 2011. Consequently, millions of people of Lebanese descent are spread throughout the world, especially in Latin America. Brazil and Argentina have the largest Lebanese communities, with the former having the largest population in the world, at 5 to 7 million. North America likewise hosts a large diaspora, particularly in Canada, approximately 250,000 to 700,000, and the United States around 2 million. Australia is home to over 270,000 Lebanese. Large numbers of Lebanese migrated to West Africa, particularly to Ivory Coast, 100,000, and Senegal, 30,000. The Persian Gulf hosts many Lebanese expatriates, led by Saudi Arabia with 269,000 Lebanese citizens. Over 50% of the Lebanese diaspora are Christian, partly due to the large period of Christian emigration before 1943. Lebanon has the largest number of refugees per capita in the world. As of 2024, Lebanon hosted over 1.6 million refugees and asylum seekers. 449,957 from Palestine, 100,000 from Iraq, over 1.1 million from Syria, and at least 4,000 from Sudan. In the last 3 decades, lengthy and destructive armed conflicts have ravaged the country. Lebanon is the most religiously diverse country in West Asia and the Mediterranean. Because the relative sizes of different religions and religious sects remains a sensitive issue, a national census has not been conducted since 1932. There are 18 state-recognized religious sects for Muslim, 12 Christian, 1 Druze and 1 Jewish. The Lebanese government counts its Druze citizens as part of its Muslim population, although most Druze today do not identify as Muslims. It is believed that there has been a decline in the ratio of Christians to Muslims over the past 60 years due to higher emigration rates of Christians and higher birth rate in the Muslim population. When the last census was held in 1932, Christians made up 53% of Lebanon's population. In 1956, it was estimated that the population was 54% Christian and 44% Muslim. Majority of Lebanese people speak Lebanese Arabic, which is grouped in a larger category called Levantine Arabic, while Modern Standard Arabic is mostly used in magazines, newspapers, and formal broadcast media. The culture of Lebanon reflects the legacy of various civilizations spanning thousands of years. Originally home to the Canaanite Phoenicians and later conquered and occupied by Assyrians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, Arabs, Crusaders, Ottoman Turks, and most recently the French, Lebanese culture has over the millennia evolved by borrowing from all of these groups. Lebanon's diverse population, composed of different ethnic and religious groups, has further contributed to the country's festivals, musical styles, and literature as well as cuisine. Despite the ethnic, linguistic, religious, and denominational diversity of the Lebanese, they share an almost common culture. Lebanese Arabic is universally spoken while food, music, and literature are deep-rooted in wider Mediterranean and Levantine norms. Lebanon celebrates national and both Christian and Muslim holidays. Christian holidays are celebrated following both Gregorian and Julian calendar. Greek Orthodox, with the exception of Easter, Catholics, Protestants, and Melkite Christians follow Gregorian calendar and thus celebrate Christmas on the 25th of December. Armenian Apostolic Christians celebrate Christmas on the 6th of January, as they follow the Julian calendar. Muslim holidays are followed based on Islamic lunar calendar. Muslim holidays celebrated include Eid al-Fitr, the 3-day feast at the end of the Ramadan month, Eid al-Adha, the Feast of the Sacrifice, which is celebrated during the annual pilgrimage to Mecca, and Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his son to God, birth of Islamic prophet Muhammad, and Ashura, the Shiite day of mourning. Lebanon's national holidays include Workers' Day, Independence Day, and Martyrs' Day. Music festivals, often hosted at historical sites, are Baalbek, Byblos, Beit Edin, Jaunia, Batroun, Emej, Tower Chwer, and Tyr Festival. These festivals are promoted by Lebanon's Ministry of Tourism. Lebanon hosts about 15 concerts from international performers each year, ranking first for nightlife in the Middle East and 6th worldwide. Lebanese cuisine is similar to those of many countries in the Eastern Mediterranean such as Syria, Turkey, Greece, and Cyprus. The Lebanese national dishes are kibbeh, a meat pie made from finely minced lamb and burghul, cracked wheat, and tabbouleh, a salad made from parsley, tomatoes, and burghul wheat. Lebanese restaurant meals begin with a wide array of mets, small savory dishes, such as dips, salads, and pastries. The mets are followed by a selection of grilled meat or fish. In general, meals are finished with Arabic coffee and fresh fruit, though sometimes a selection of traditional sweets offered. Natufian culture was the first to become sedentary at around 12,000 BC. Evidence of early settlement in Lebanon was found in Byblos, considered among the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world. The evidence dates back to earlier than 5000 BC. Lebanon was part of northern Canaan and consequently became homeland of Canaanite descendants, the Phoenicians, a seafaring people based in the coastal strip of northern Levant who spread across Mediterranean in 1st millennium BC. The most prominent Phoenician cities were Byblos, Sidon, and Tyre. According to Bible, King Hiram of Tyre collaborated closely with Solomon, supplying cedar logs for Solomon's temple and sending skilled workers. In 9th century BC, Phoenician colonies including Carthage in present-day Tunisia and Cadiz in present-day Spain, flourished throughout Mediterranean. Subsequently, foreign powers, starting with Neo-Assyrian Empire, imposed tribute and attacked non-compliant cities. Neo-Babylonian Empire took control in 6th century BC. In 539 BC, cities of Phoenicia were incorporated into Achaemenid Empire by Cyrus the Great. The Phoenician city-states were later incorporated into the empire of Alexander the Great following siege of Tyre in 332 BCE. In 64 BC, Roman general Pompey had the region of Syria annexed into Roman Republic. The area was then split into two imperial provinces under Roman Empire, Coele Syria and Phoenice, the latter which is the land of present-day Lebanon. The region that is now Lebanon, as with rest of Syria and much of Anatolia, became major center of Christianity in Roman Empire during the early spread of faith. During late 4th and early 5th century, a hermit named Maron established monastic tradition focused on the importance of monotheism and asceticism near Mediterranean mountain range known as Mount Lebanon. The monks who followed Maron spread his teachings among Lebanese in the region. These Christians became known as Maronites and moved into the mountains to avoid religious persecution by Roman authorities. During the frequent Roman-Persian wars that lasted for many centuries, Sasanian Empire occupied what is now Lebanon from 619 till 629. Amidst the height of First World War, the Sykes-Picot Agreement of 1916, a secret pact between Britain and France, delineated Lebanon and its surrounding areas as regions open to potential French influence or control. After the Allies emerged victorious in the war, Ottoman Empire ultimately collapsed, losing control over the area. The Lebanese Republic was officially proclaimed on the 1st of September, 1926 with adoption of a constitution inspired by French Constitution on the 23rd of May, 1926. While a Lebanese government was established, the country continued under French control. In the face of intense British pressure and protests by Lebanese nationalists, French reluctantly released the government officials on the 22nd of November, 1943 and accepted the independence of Lebanon. When the United Nations officially came into existence on the 24th of October, 1945, after ratification of the UN Charter by the 5 permanent members, as both Syria and Lebanon were founding member states, the French mandate for both was legally terminated on that date and full independence attained. The last French troops withdrew in December 1946. Lebanon's unwritten National Pact of 1943 required its president to be Maronite Christian, its Speaker of Parliament to be a Shia Muslim, its Prime Minister be Sunni Muslim and Deputy Speaker of Parliament and Deputy Prime Minister to be Greek Orthodox. Lebanon's history since independence has been marked by alternating periods of political stability and turmoil interspersed with prosperity built on Beirut's position as a regional center for finance and trade. In May 1948, Lebanon supported neighboring Arab countries in a war against Israel. While some irregular forces crossed the border and carried out minor skirmishes against Israel, it was without the support of Lebanese government and Lebanese troops did not officially invade. Lebanon agreed to support the forces with covering artillery fire, armored cars, volunteers, and logistical support. Between 5 to the 6th of June, 1948, Lebanese army led by Minister of National Defense, Emir Majid Arslan, captured Al-Malkiya. This was Lebanon's only success in the war. 100,000 Palestinians fled to Lebanon because of the war. According to Human Rights Watch, Palestinian refugees in Lebanon live in appalling social and economic conditions. In 1958, during the last months of President Camille Chaman's term, an insurrection broke out, instigated by Lebanese Muslims who wanted to make Lebanon a member of United Arab Republic. Chaman requested assistance, and 5,000 United States Marines were dispatched to Beirut on the 15th of July. After the crisis, a new government was formed, led by the popular former General Fouad Chiab. Until early 1970s, Lebanon was dubbed Switzerland of Middle East for its unique status as both a snow-capped holiday destination and secure banking hub for Gulf Arabs. Beirut was also nicknamed Paris of Middle East. With the defeat of Palestine Liberation Organization in Jordan, many Palestinian militants relocated to Lebanon in 1970 and increased their armed campaign against Israel. The relocation also led to sectarian tensions between Palestinians versus Maronites and other Lebanese factions. In 1975, following increasing tensions, largely boosted by Palestinian militant presence in the south, a full-scale civil war broke out in Lebanon. The war pitted a coalition of Christian groups against the joint forces of PLO, left-wing Druze, and Muslim militias. In October 1976, Arab League agreed to establish a predominantly Syrian Arab deterrent force, restoring calm. PLO attacks from Lebanon into Israel in 1977 and 1978 escalated tensions between two countries. On the 11th of March, 1978, Fatah militants in northern Israel hijacked 2 passenger buses that killed 37 Israelis before being killed in a firefight with Israeli forces. Israel invaded Lebanon 4 days later and occupied most of the area south of Litani River. Israeli forces withdrew later in 1978 but retained control of the southern region by managing a 19-kilometer-wide security zone along the border. These positions were held by South Lebanon Army, a Christian militia under leadership of Major Saad Haddad backed by Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Menachem. During the early 1980s, Hezbollah, a Shiite Islamist militant group and political party, came into existence through the efforts of Shiite clerics who were financially supported and trained by Iran. Arising in the aftermath of 1982 war and drawing inspiration from Islamic Revolution in Iran, Hezbollah actively engaged in combat against Israel as well as suicide attacks, car bombings and assassinations. Their objectives encompassed eliminating Israel, fighting for the Shia cause in the civil war, ending Western presence in Lebanon and establishing a Shiite communist Islamic State. On the 17th of October, 2019, the first of a series of mass civil demonstrations erupted, initially triggered by planned taxes on gasoline, tobacco and online phone calls such as through WhatsApp, but quickly expanded into a country-wide condemnation of sectarian rule, a stagnant economy and liquidity crisis, unemployment, endemic corruption in the public sector, legislation such as banking secrecy that shield ruling class from accountability, and failures from the government to provide basic services such as electricity, water and sanitation. Lebanon is suffering the worst economic crisis in decades. On the 4th of August, 2020, an explosion at Lebanon's main port Beirut destroyed the surrounding areas, killing over 200 people and injuring thousands. 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate that had been unsafely stored and accidentally set on fire that Tuesday afternoon caused the explosion. Protests resumed within days following the explosion. In May 2022, Lebanon held its first election since a painful economic crisis dragged it to the brink of becoming a failed state. In the election, Shia Muslim Hezbollah movement and its allies lost their parliamentary majority. Hezbollah did not lose any of its seats, but its allies lost seats. Hezbollah's ally, President Michel Aoun's Free Patriotic Movement, was no longer the biggest Christian party after the election. A rival Christian party, Lebanese Forces led by Samir Ghidjia, became the largest Christian-based party in parliament. The Sunni Future movement led by former Prime Minister Saad Hariri did not participate in the election, leaving a political vacuum for other Sunni politicians to fill. The Lebanese crisis became so severe that multiple boats left the coast holding migrants in a desperate run from the country. Many proved unsuccessful and fatal. In April 2022, 6 people died and around 50 people rescued after an overloaded boat sunk in Tripoli. On the 22nd of September, at least 94 people were killed when a boat carrying migrants from Lebanon capsized off Syria's coast. 9 people survived. On the 1st of February, 2023, Central Bank of Lebanon devalued Lebanese pound by 90% amid ongoing financial crisis. This was the first time Lebanon had devalued its official exchange rate in 25 years. As of 2023, Lebanon is considered a failed state, suffering from chronic poverty, economic mismanagement and banking collapse. The Gaza war sparked a renewed Israel-Hezbollah conflict. Hezbollah has said it will not stop attacking Israel until Israel ceases its attacks in Gaza. Starting with the Israeli explosion of Lebanese Pegas and walkie-talkies in September 2024, the conflict escalated severely with the 23rd of September 2024 Israeli airstrikes on Lebanon and sparking a mass exodus from southern Lebanon. On the 27th of September 2024, Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah was killed in an Israeli airstrike. On the 1st of October 2024, Lebanon was invaded by Israel with the objective of destroying infrastructure belonging to Hezbollah in the south of the country. In November 2024, a ceasefire deal was signed between Israel and the Lebanese armed group Hezbollah to end 13 months of conflict. According to the agreement, Hezbollah was given 60 days to end its armed presence in southern Lebanon, and Israeli forces were obliged to withdraw from the area over the same period. The fall of Assad's Ba'athist regime in Syria was another blow to its Lebanese ally, Hezbollah, which was already weakened because of Israeli military actions. The Syrian regime change in December 2024 was said to start a new chapter in Lebanese politics. In January 2025, Joseph Aoun, the Lebanese army commander, was elected Lebanese 14th president after a 2-year vacancy. In February 2025, Prime Minister Nawaf Salam, former president of the International Court of Justice, formed a new government of 24 ministers after a 2-year caretaker cabinet. On the 26th of February 2025, Lebanon's government of Nawaf Salam won a confidence vote in parliament.